in audio.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for pressing play. So if you're new to my channel, my name is Bridget. I am a faith-based content creator. I just desire to encourage through this channel. I do that by sharing my walk as a Christian, sharing the tough moments and the beautiful moments, and also sharing testimonies. I am always so encouraged when I hear of other people's testimonies and just like what God has done in their life. And like today's video, it's funny, right? Because if you've been watching my videos, the last couple videos were on marriage and dating advice, right? You guys, I love encouraging marriages. I love love stories, right? If you followed me for even just this past year, you will know that I love love. Like I love love stories, you guys. And so that brings us to today's video. I wanted to talk about a man by the name of John Wooden, right? Many know him as a coach. He was such a great coach, right? But as I was like looking into his life, what stood out to me was that he not only was a great coach, but he was a great husband. Obviously, I don't know him personally, but from even the testimonies of other people, like his marriage was just as successful as his coaching career and probably even more successful than his coaching career. I don't know how I ran across him. I think I saw like a quote that he said and it really stood out. And I love quotes. Like I love quotes, and I love quotes when it aligns with God's word, right? When it aligns with God's word and speaks to my heart, it's like, wow, yes, this makes sense. This is how God designed us, or this is what God would like, how God would want us to think. You know what I mean? And so I remember I ran across his quote. And when I ran across his quote, what was his quote? Be more concerned with your character than your reputation, because your character is what you really are, while your reputation is merely what others think you are, right? And I realized as I was looking through his quotes, a lot of his quotes were about character, right? And that always intrigues me, because one of my prayers consistently is like, God, help me to be a woman of integrity. Help me to be a woman of good character, right? That's pleasing to you and that pleases, that's pleasing to you and that blesses others, right? And so whenever I see like quotes like this, it really stands out, because it's interesting how when you see people who are successful, I'm a business owner, right? I'm a photographer. I specialize in newborn and family photography, right? And so as a business owner, I want to be successful in my career, right? As a business owner. But even more than that, I want to be successful as a human being in God's eyes. Like I want to be always to be a woman of character, of godly character, of good character, right? Who has integrity, who has morals. And so it's interesting when I see really good, successful people while also, being really good at their career, but also being really good at in their home or with friends, or like it blesses me because it makes sense. Doesn't that make sense? Like if you have good character, then, chances are you're going to succeed in a lot of these areas. And, that doesn't mean that trials won't come. That doesn't mean that failure won't come. Even as we read today, right? That doesn't mean that, you're not going to struggle in different areas. But if we continue on a path that God is pleased with, right? And, I'm speaking today about, John Wooden, and what intrigued me about his testimony was he had godly character, right? And so yeah, you guys stay tuned for the next video, because the next video I'm sharing some of the quotes that have blessed me, and I share why they have blessed me, that he has said, and I believe that it will bless someone else, you guys. I just know that his testimony today, and even the next video, like especially the next video, that it will bless someone. It encouraged me as a business owner, as a wife, as a yeah, it really blessed me. So I believe that it will bless you too. So let's get into today's video. So today's video, I kind of just looked up John Wooden, right? And then I found Wikipedia, and Wikipedia was what really, I remember the night I found him and I was just searching, it touched my heart, you guys. Like, it blessed me to see the love he had for his wife. Like, and it always blesses me. I don't know why I'm getting like a little teary-eyed, but it always blesses me when someone, like I said, is successful in their career, but even more successful at home, because I feel like it's easy to focus so much on your career that you miss out on your home life, right? On your time with your spouse, on your time with your kids. But I ended up earlier today, I found a documentary. I'm gonna link it underneath this video. On John Wooden, right? And I found this documentary. His daughter speaks in the documentary. Other players that he played with or coached speak in the documentary. There's little clips of his wife speaking in the documentary. She passed before him, but there's little clips of her speaking in it too. And it's like, a little over an hour documentary, but it's such a blessing, you guys. Something else that I wanted to share was that, and I wish you guys could talk back to me. I've been thinking about maybe doing a live and yeah, having you guys talk back to me, because yeah, it's like, I like to have that interaction. Yeah, but I was thinking like how, you know, I like sometimes I just like, even how I shared in my romance novel video where I shared my favorite romance series, how sometimes I just want something more chill, something more laid back, and something lately that I've been really into has been like watching biographies of other people, right? It's almost like reality TV in a way. It's not, because it's not like in the moment, but like it just reminds, it's just like an edifying version of a reality TV concept in a way, in my brain, right? It's just like, wow, it's something just, you know, it's not too deep. It's not, you don't need too much thinking, but it's edifying. Like to hear about their life, to hear about certain things they went through, right? And yeah, maybe not reality TV, but maybe like, you know, like those gossip websites, like, oh, look at what so-and-so did, or da-da-da. This, it's like a flipped around version of edification, of like, yeah, it's just encouraging, right? And so as I was this morning, I decided to watch a video on him, because I knew I wanted to record this video today. And yeah, it was such a blessing. So something that really stuck out, it said his parents, especially his father, influenced him, right? And he said that there's always time for play, but that's after the chores and studies are done. His father read to him every night poetry and Bible scriptures. And so one, that blesses me, and I pray that that blesses other parents out there, or I'm not a parent yet, but even it made me think about, if, you know, God willing, I am a parent, I desire children. If this is your first time here, I desire children. You can look at my past videos. That's a prayer of mine. But even if you're not a parent, right, and you're an aunt like me, or you have kids around you like at church or whatever it is, just seeing the impact of what a human being can have. And specifically speaking to the parents, like his dad, he's with his dad almost, well, every single day he's with his dad and his mom, right? And so he just like pointed out multiple times in this documentary that his dad really influenced him. And even something so little as, you can play, right? There's always time for play, but that's after your chores and your studies. And to see like how he was really into his studies, and how he was, a great coach. And even something like that, a teaching, because his dad said his dad didn't say you can never play, you know what I mean? But he said you can play, but you got to get this work done. It showed him like a discipline to get things done. And so that really blessed me. And then that his dad read to him every single night. I think that is so sweet, so beautiful. I have friends who read to their children at night, and just that quality time, I think that is so special, right? And he's teaching him the Bible, which is like the best book ever. And then he's like reading poetry, and I think it just makes such an impact on a person. And seeing it, like how that impacted him, I pray that blesses other parents out there. And then he says someone else who really influenced him with it was his coach. So like people like me, maybe you don't have children, but you're maybe an aunt or an uncle, right? Or you're a coach, or, like you have an impact. You're a teacher, or you're, like there's different roles. Even if you're like a part of a church and you help with the kids, or you're around the children, like you can make an impact on them, right? And so I think it's just encouraging to know that like we can make an impact. And it's also humbling to make sure and to pray like, Lord, help me to make a good impact, right? To influence them in a way that pleases you, to influence them in a positive way. And so I really love that stuck out a lot. Again, I'm gonna put this video underneath. It's over an hour. I'm just sharing some of the notes that I took that really stood out to me. Something else that stood out to me, his parents lost both daughters when they were young, right? And so I put, it shows that trials do come. Like he had, I believe, 2 sisters, and I don't know if it was 2 brothers or 1 brother, but yeah, he lost both of his sisters. So I can just imagine how that must impact you as a parent, and even as a sibling, like you lost 2 sisters. And so I just wanted to note that, because that shows that he didn't have a perfect childhood by any means, right? And he also said that they hardly had any money also, you know what I mean? And so I pray that encourages you, if you didn't have a perfect childhood. Like, who has a perfect childhood, right? Yes, there are more traumatic experiences over others. Some people do have like a beautiful childhood, and some people have a childhood where they struggled. But I just pray, like, if you've had a childhood where you've had trials, or I pray that his testimony would encourage you, right? Like that you can persevere and you can have a beautiful outcome, and just like don't get discouraged when trials do come, which we're gonna see more of in his testimony, right? But I wanted to show you something that he said that his father wrote him. When he graduated from grade school, his father gave him a letter with 7 points on it. And I thought it was so beautiful. And think about it as like a child receiving this from a parent, how impactful these things are. And sometimes I feel like, and I guess I'm talking to parents again, because like, I bet it could be discouraging, because maybe sometimes you're like, what I'm saying to my kids, is this even impacting them? Like, is this even making a difference? And it will make a difference later on, right? And so, yeah, I pray that encourages someone. But yeah, I wanted to share this. He said his father was a gentleman. like such a gentleman, right? He said like the definition of a gentleman. And he said when he graduated from grade school, his father gave him a letter with 7 points. Number 1, be true to yourself. Number 2, make each day your masterpiece. Number 3, help others. Number 4, make friendship a fine art. Number 5, build a shelter against a rainy day. Number 6, drink deeply from good books, especially the Bible. Number 7, pray for guidance, count and give thanks for your blessings every day. And so I thought that that was just beautiful. I love those 7 points, and I pray that that blesses you as well. Something else that stood out to me that really encouraged me was to see that he wasn't perfect. None of us is perfect. We all struggle in some way, maybe lacking patience, maybe lacking self-control, maybe lacking kindness, maybe, there's ways that we all struggled. And he is open about that in this documentary, or the makers of this documentary. They said that he struggled with having a temper and was ashamed when he, if he had an altercation with a referee and then, or, someone else, and then he would say he was ashamed of even that. And so over time you see a growth in him. But yeah, that was an area where he responded with anger, or he lacked patience, or maybe he lacked self-control in some moments like that. And so yeah, I just note that just because none of us is perfect, we're all gonna fall short. And I pray that that encourages you in some way. Continue to pray for God to strengthen you in those areas where you're weak. I know I continue to pray for myself. You know what I mean? We're gonna be growing till the day Jesus comes back, you guys. Even though we're Christians, as a Christian, we will fall short, right? We will fall short, but we know that the Holy Spirit is really, truly working in us, and that we truly love God if we desire to walk in the ways that are pleasing to Him. And if there's growth, if there's fruit, right? Over time, we will see growth. If we truly, truly love God and are walking with Him, we will see growth. But yeah, just don't get discouraged. Something else that stood out to me was his first year in Dayton, Kentucky. Coaching was probably his worst year because he lost almost every game. You guys, he was such a successful coach. And his first year coaching in Dayton, Kentucky, it said that it was probably his worst year. He lost almost every game. And I just thought it was so interesting because it's he learned from it, and after that he had many wins. So I hope that this encourages you. Don't give up when it's hard, or when you fail, or when situations happen. I'm starting to see the people who become the most successful in their art, or in their talent, or in their career, it's those people who push through past failure, past discouragement. They continue to push through. 1, and then 2, people who have a good character. They make it really far, right? People who have integrity. And so I hope that that encourages you, in some way. And then I like where it said him and his wife still had disagreements, when he enlisted in the Navy, right? His wife was upset because he enlisted without talking to her, which they said was extremely rare. He always talked to her about decisions. In this case, he said he enlisted so that his son would never have to enlist. So they said that this was probably, he said it, I believe there was a clip of him saying one of the worst disagreements that they've ever had was this one, because she felt as though he should have told her, right? Especially enlisting, right, in the Navy. And from his point of view, I guess he just went for it. And in his mind was he didn't want his son to have to enlist, even though I think at this time his son was still little. But I don't know if there was a law, if your father enlists and you have one boy, then your son does. I don't know the reason behind it, but I just know that the sister says that in the video, that he didn't want his son to have to enlist. And something else that really blessed me about his testimony, it said he had a lot of opposition. In that type of profession, it can be pretty cutthroat, right? And then he said, there was like a clip of him. He said, your strength is how you act with both praise and criticism. You can't let either one affect you, right? So your strength is how you act with both praise and criticism. How are you going to act when people are praising you and you're just like, wow, you are the woman or the man, right? How are you going to act? Are you going to be humble? Are you going to be prideful? How are you going to act? Or when criticism comes, are you going to shrink down? Are you going to, like not continue to push forward or, but like what he says, you can't let either one affect you, right? You have to just keep going, whether people praise you or criticize you. You have to keep going for God's glory, right? Criticism might come, and it might be constructive criticism that could be used to build us up, right? And to grow us. Praise might come, and it might be, a beautiful thing, like people acknowledging your gifts and your talent, and that's beautiful. And may it give us a desire to bless others with our gifts and talents and to bring God glory with our gifts and talents. And, may neither one of those two things affect us negatively, And then her daughter said his wife, this is what his daughter said. His wife was always there along the way. This blessed me, you guys. Like, I thought that this was so beautiful because she said his wife, which is her mother, was always there along the way. And well, they said it in the documentary too. And then it says, and her career this is what the daughter said, and her career was wife and mother, and she was very good at it. She would pick out his clothes and make sure it was well pressed and ready. And I thought that was so beautiful that she saw this as her career, right? Like, I think sometimes as men and women, like either men or women, we think like we have to have such a profound career, right? But it's like where God has us, that's where we're serving. And in her case, she wasn't serving in the corporate world. She was serving alongside her husband. And as you watch the video, you'll see what a profound impact she had on her husband, on the people around her. There were people that said, I remember there was one, I think one of his students or, someone he was coaching, and he said, I always wanted to drive in the back seat of John Wooden's car because I knew that his wife was going to be right next to him. And he loved seeing their love with one another. Like people see that, it's not something you can fake, or put a front on, but people see the genuine love between a husband and a wife. And that impacts them, right? They may not have been talking to him or like about marriage, but just living life impacted them, And so, I pray, you guys, we are going over time. I didn't want to make this longer than 20 minutes. So what I'm going to do, I am going to cut this video, and the next section, this is like an intro to John Wooden, right? And how and why his life has blessed me, right? The next video is gonna be more about his love life, you guys. And that part, I'm gonna record as soon as I stop. I'm gonna press stop, and then I'm gonna keep recording because like it's been so fresh on my mind since I just watched the documentary this morning. But that part blesses me so much, you guys. So stay tuned for that. That's gonna be next week. And then after that is gonna be the quotes that I truly believe are gonna impact a lot of people. They're gonna encourage you in some way. And so you guys, stay tuned for next week's video. And I pray that something in this video has been a blessing. Bye.